have studied that event. Studying means it is not just a story to entertain ourselves, but it is to draw some lessons and to benefit from that one. Anyone put some effort in order to study that event, that miracle? I will do my best today, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, not only to tell you the story, not only to relate to the biography, the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it comes to that event, that miracle of Isra wal Miraj. The night journey from Mecca to Jerusalem to the farthest mosque in Palestine, and this is Al-Isra, and then Al-Miraj from that masjid, from the furthest masjid in Jerusalem, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, to the heavens, to the seventh heaven, and even beyond. In my studying and teaching those events, I would love to go back to what happened before that event took place. What led into it? That's one thing. To the event itself, what happened? How long did it take? He was involved in that miracle, that event. The miracle itself, why it was a miracle, and by what means, by what definition it was a miracle. Was it a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for something he has done in 12 years before that event took place? What is the spirituality of Al-Isra wal Miraj? And also, what is the scientific approach of Al-Isra wal Miraj? I know we have many scientists among us, or some who love to see how science is connected to our faith, and if there any contradiction or they are consistent, what we believe in from the scientific point of view, or what we can't believe, we can't take it. And then it would come the lessons, how we can benefit from this event, that miracle, that reward from Allah to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how we can benefit from it today and tomorrow and for the rest of our life. If there are any lessons we can draw out of this event. For many Muslims, it's really unfortunate when they read the biography of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is just stories, just for entertainment. Just, here's what happened at that place, with whom, and so on and so forth. Oh, great, wonderful story. This is really good. But in the teaching of Islam, we have to go much deeper. We have to analyze what happened. We have to figure out why it happened, how it happened, with whom it happened. What are the lessons we can draw out of this event or that story? Al-Isra wal Miraj, briefly, I will do myself to be brief. I always love to look at any event in the Islamic history or in the seerah, biography of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, looking at the whole picture, looking at the context of where the event took place, what happened before, what happened during, and what happened after. That event took place as a miracle from Allah to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam after 12 years of receiving the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the prophet and to be the messenger. And 12 years struggling and striving in Mecca, in his own town, with his own people, tribes, relatives, just to teach one thing, one pillar of the 5 pillars of Islam, come to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's it. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not take any partners or associates with him, and believe on Muhammad as his messenger, his prophet, and the seal of all prophets and messengers before him. Though at that time, not even half of the Quran was revealed. Wasn't even half of it. Yet, during those 12 years for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, keep working for Islam and for Allah as much as you can, as hard as you can. There is no time to relax. There is no time to take a break. And it is from within your own people first. And of course, as we have seen, as we have studied, rejection, not recognition of him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What are you talking about? One God? No. We have in Kaaba itself, in the sacred house, 360 idols were worshipping, all of them. Beside that huge number of idols were worshipping, any one of us can take as many as he or she would like as idols at his home, in his own convenience, And instead of going to the Kaaba and worshipping those idols there, you can have your own made of wood, made of iron, even made of dates. So even for some of them, when they are hungry, get sick and tired of that idol, I can eat it up. It's so for them. And now Muhammad, you're changing, that belief system we have, and you're asking us to worship one God. No. How many people believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till that 12th year of the revelation? They did not even reach 70. Because by the end of the year 13, there were about 100. Can you imagine him sallallahu alaihi wasallam working so hard, trying to win the hearts, minds, and souls of people from within his tribe to embrace Islam, and not too many people? As a matter of fact, calling him very bad, nasty names, liar, magician, manipulative, you name it. And they were planning, really, truly, to kill him in order to get rid of him, get rid of all those believers who embrace Islam, and get rid of Islam, and there is no room for you, Muhammad, and for those who are adherent to Islam, and so on and so forth. So, what happened briefly, besides that struggling and striving and reaching out for people and preaching Islam and so on and so forth, the Quraysh people have utilized many ways, many strategies, and many tactics and techniques in order to persuade him, convince him, threat him, you name it, in order to give up the mission of Islam. In one way, they said, we can offer you whatever you would like to have. Kingdom, you would love to be the king among all of us. You have that very high, prestigious position to be the leader, to be the president, to be the emir, to be whatever those titles are, because we have seen them nowadays. You know what I mean? As if history repeats itself. You'd like to be the king of that, we'll make you a king. Emir, you'll be the emir. President, with a fraud election, with manipulation, I will help you. You know what I mean? I don't have to talk about politics, because you know what I'm talking about. So as if actually history repeats itself. So it happened with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You'd be the king. You are the poorest of the poor. You are in need of a lot of money. We can raise fund for you. We can provide you with the money in order to be the richest among us. And of course for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the answer was a definite answer. It is in all. No. No money, no wealth, no prestigious things, no king, no emir, no president. I am here chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a prophet and messenger, and I will keep going. And of course, answers of that nature to come to the leaders of Quraysh people at that time, the only thing what came to their mind, he must be crazy. He lost his mind. He's not thinking right. You know, did he develop kind of, mental, psychological, emotional abnormality? Oh, Muhammad, we have to take care of you. We know in Arabia we can find you the best of the experts who can deal with your mental ability and capability to bring you back to the way it should. Can you imagine? This has been said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The answer is still the same. It's no, it is Allah, it is the book of Allah, it is the teaching. They never give up, but they can have their own ways of trying to convince. So they went to the biggest support for him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Talib, his uncle. Abu Talib, you go convince your nephew to give up Islam. We have tried our best and he did not listen. Abu Talib said, I can talk to him. I will find out. So he went to him, telling him, here's what I had from the leaders of the Quraysh people, and just give up Islam and you don't have to reach out for them or preach Islam and so on and so forth. The answer from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to Abu Talib, beyond anyone's imagination. Because Abu Talib, for him as an uncle, number one. Two, as the absolute human support for him. No one else was supporting Muhammad ﷺ as Abu Talib. So it won't make sense if I tell that person, my uncle, you are the absolute support to me among humans. In Arabia at that time, I disobey you, or I disagree with you, or I cannot take that offer. Yet for Muhammad ﷺ, with that wonderful statement, telling him that my uncle. And I would love for all of you to live this moment with him ﷺ, telling Abu Talib that statement, my uncle, if they bring down sun to my right hand and moon to my left hand in order to give up that mission of Islam, I will never do, even if I have to die for it till the last drop of my blood. And for anyone who can make some calculation or analyze the situation, just thinking, if you're telling your uncle that's your answer to him, how about if you're kicked out of his house? How about if he gave up on you? How about if he sided up with the prominent leaders of the Quraysh people against you? So now you're losing a huge and a major support. Yet for Muhammad ﷺ, my uncle, I'm clear. I would be wondering in our life, in believing in Islam and the mission of Islam and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a prophet, and someone would come directly or indirectly, to convince me to compromise Islam, what would be our reaction? Though, many out of 1.6 billion Muslims now at all levels and geographical locations and countries and nations and communities, we have to admit it, many Muslims have been already compromised Islam. For most of the time, I would say, for a very, very miserable price. Though for them, when they think, yeah, I can do this, but there is no need, for me to practice Islam this way, or I can live with it, no problem. But think, wallahi, honestly, of what Muhammad ﷺ did at that time, and in that situation, and what happened to him, what type of answer he has given, how he stand up for Islam against any ways of persuasion, convincing, temptation, money, prestige, kingdom, wealth, his uncle, nothing. His uncle told him in that wonderful statement he shared with him, my nephew, go ahead, do whatever your Lord told you to do. I will never intervene. Wallahi la uslimuka lahum abada. Swearing by God, the God he believed in, I will never take you to go to them and surrender. Though Abu Talib was not a Muslim, he wasn't adherent to Islam, he did not believe in Islam, he did not embrace Islam. Though for Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he wished so hard for him to come to Islam. So he's just behaving this way because he saw in Muhammad ﷺ is truthful and he's struggling and striving so hard. I will support you no matter what. Even if I'm not a Muslim, even if I'm not believing in Allah as one, even if I'm not believing in you, Muhammad, as a prophet. And for a reason, for a wisdom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, till the last moment of his life, Abu Talib's life, in his deathbed, when Muhammad ﷺ felt that he's about to die, and going to him and say, uncle, just say it, and I will be witnessing what you're saying. Embrace Islam. Say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Abu Talib never did. And Muhammad ﷺ never heard it from him. And immediately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him, Muhammad, this is the Quran now. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ الْمُهْتَدِينَ. Muhammad, you will never guide anyone according to your wish to come to Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to his will guide whomsoever to come to Islam and embrace Islam. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wished for his uncle, who protected him for so many years, who fed him, who helped him, he provided him with safety and security. He loved to see his uncle coming to Islam. Because Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was very, very, very close to Ali, the son of Abu Talib, his cousin, since he was very young. And now to see the cousin embracing Islam, walking with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as his shadow, while the father never came to Islam. You see in here, something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for a wisdom, wanted to have it done this way. A piece of wisdom in here through my studying to that situation of Abu Talib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to be supported, not by anyone, but by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even your uncle. Even your uncle. Muhammad, you have to do it alone, no matter what. No matter what. That's why when you study more and more what happened, it wasn't only that situation, but another situation. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had to be in another test, another trial from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to him, along with the community, meaning the Muslim community, within the larger community of the pagans, of the non-believers, the Quraysh people. It was the declaration of the Quraysh people. After all of those ways, tactics, and techniques fail, now we're going to do something else, Muhammad. You will regret it. You can't imagine what would happen to you. Now it is our decision to push you away from all of us from Mecca. You go with the believers along with their families and their children to live at that valley of Mecca, away from everyone, in terms of declaring an embargo or imposing a sanction against you and the believers. You there, you stay there till you die out of hunger and thirst. No business, no food, no communication. You choose it to be this way, you be there till you die. We're done. We'll get rid of you. This is the only way. We have to deal you in that situation. I believe that for all of you, that concept of embargo and sanction, very familiar to all of you. Should I go on little details?
Great.
We have seen it by our own eyes. We have experienced it. Can I tell you how many millions of Iraqi children died because of that sanction of whoever was done against them? Embargo, sanction, no food, no basic needs. I can go on and on and on as, subhanallah, and a very satanic weapon has been used nowadays against Muslims. Either to abide on what we're saying, what we're imposing on you, what you're telling you to do, or a sanction, or an embargo. Okay. How many years Muhammad ﷺ, along with the families of the believers, along with their children, stayed in the valley? 3 years. Till the point some of the little children were eating dried branches of trees. Not eating from the garbage, no. Dried branches of trees. And some people say, that's Allah, and that's His messenger, and those are the believers, and the children of the believers. Do they deserve all of these things? Is it a punishment? No. It is a test from Allah. He put all of them, all levels, elders and youngers, children and parents. You have to go through this in order to find out who would stand for Allah and who would compromise. Who would go for Islam or say, no, I give up. Do whatever you want to do with me, just feed me. I just need my food and basic needs and so on and so forth. Whatever you tell me to do, I will do. But for them, though that sanction at that time in Arabia was totally against the values of Arabs, that was the first time they have done such a thing. Even in their war, before the Islamic era, they never used such a sanction, an embargo. It was just a war, whoever win, whoever lose, and it would be the outcome of that war, captivities of women, you have the money, you have the wealth, you have whatever you want to have, but never implement that type of sanction in Arabia at that time. That was the first time. Very satanic, subhanallah rabbil alameen, way in order to deal with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the believers. And of course some people would say, this is too much. Ya Allah, be merciful in Muhammad. Be merciful in those kids. No. It is not a matter of being merciful, but it is a matter of a test, and they have to pass this test. We have to pass many tests in our life today. Even if we're suffering, even if we're struggling, even if we have to do something for Islam and for Muslims, some sacrifice and so on and so forth. No doubt, some Muslims will take the back seat, relax and say, why me? You know, we have 1.6 billion Muslims and many of them can do something for Islam, but not me. Let me relax. Let me keep my job. Let me keep my family safe and secure. Let me take care of my children. But how many out of those 1.6 billion Muslims are willing to sacrifice for Deen Allah, for the religion of Allah, for Islam, and for themselves? Really unfortunate. Few. Few. And I may ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of you to be among those few who can sacrifice for Islam and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of people would say, okay, this would be the end of it. Sanction would be left and they will live in peace and so on and so forth. So everything could be okay for you, Muhammad, and Islam will prevail. You pass the test along with the believers, and everything could be fine. They left the embargo and they went back to Mecca and they practiced their normal life there. I understand Asr has been already called for. Would you like to have Asr first and continue, or have Asr and stop in here, or the decision is yours? You let me know. And
Asr first, this one. Okay, then we'll continue. Okay. So, and Asr first, and then we continue question and answer. Okay. Yeah. Asr first.
I promise you what is coming is more exciting.